Hi guys, Iron Cameraman here. Today we've got an important and in-depth breakdown of all the latest updates, so let's jump right into the main thing, the completed puzzle. Once all the pieces are put together, the message we get is "no more hiding," clearly referring to the Speaker Titan and his armada. You can recognize the Titan by the silhouette in the center, and in the top and bottom right corners there are two speakermen. Between them, there's something that looks like a drone, possibly a new speaker tech. It's harder to identify the characters on the left. In the middle, there's someone with what looks like speakers and an antenna, kind of like an elite TV man. But the silhouette doesn't quite match, especially the head, which looks too small for a TV. Below him, there's probably another speaker man. Behind him, you can see what looks like the handle of a melee weapon, maybe a sword, like the cameramen use. And the character at the top really gives off G-Man vibes, that helmet with those sticking out parts, plus the shoulder-mounted weapon. But it's not a grav gun model. So either it's a uniquely designed Speakerman, a new mutant, or maybe even a joint creation between the Speakermen and the Scabitus. Hard to say. There's also a second hidden message that shows up when the image is brightened. Invaders shall be executed. That makes it clear the Speakerman armada is fully ready and about to strike back at the Astros, who clearly weren't prepared for this. Now let's move on to the spoiler breakdown. Based on the similarities with the Astros, it's not hard to guess that this is the same location we've seen before, but now it's a darker version, covered in destruction and fire, which tells us the Astros are aggressively advancing and nothing seems to be stopping them, which makes it even more interesting that Alliance agents are out there in that hellscape. Let's list them. First, there's Larry. According to the label in the corner, he's a new TV man. At first I thought he was an elite, but then I remembered those same purple blades showed up on TV Woman after her upgrade, so maybe all the TV men got upgraded. Then there's a big cameraman without a name tag, so probably not a new character. And lastly, a big TV man. Judging by how many Astros are in the scene, it's obvious the Alliance group doesn't stand a chance. So, what's the point of this mission? First, I want to point out the cooperation between TV men and cameramen. Earlier, as the TV scientist himself said, they were just sitting back, waiting for the Speaker armada. So what made them change their mind? There are probably two reasons. The first, and most likely, is that the Astros took control of their Titan, and now they'll accept any help they can get to bring him back. The second is the alliance with the Scabitus. One of them gave a speech at the Cameraman base directly to the TV scientist, clearly stating the only way to defeat the Astros is through unity. And maybe that message finally got through to the TV guys. So, what's the purpose of this mission? Looking at the small team and the presence of TV men, there are two possible objectives. One, reconnaissance. You can't beat the Astros if you don't know where their forces are concentrated. You need to find the weak spot, not rush into a suicidal frontal assault. And if things go south, the TV men can just teleport the whole squad back to base with no losses. The second goal is something we already saw in episode 76, rescue. The TV men are setting up evacuation points for speakermen and cameramen, teleporting them to safety, because any movement through the air or large gatherings are instantly detected and intercepted by the Astros and wiped out. Let's take a closer look at the spoilers with the agents, starting with Larry. There's some kind of device on his back. Judging by how it's built, it doesn't look like a folded claw or a ring, more like an anti-grav engine similar to what the Astros use. The part sticking out looks a bit like the boosters we've seen on upgraded cameramen, but the position's off. They're too far from the shoulders and they look different. If it's not just a weirdly drawn claw, then this could be a brand new piece of gear made specifically to fight the Astros, and we'll probably see it in action soon. To Larry's right, there's a cake with what looks like 14 candles, although I might be off a bit because of the render quality. It's probably just a random Easter egg, not tied to anything. 14 candles is too many for how long Skibidi Toilet has been around, and too few for Larry's age. Maybe Boom is just poking fun at the fact that we've been waiting 3 months for a new episode. I won't repeat everything from the previous breakdown, but I'll just say this shot is either meant to be a joke or is totally out of context, because what's happening here is just absurd. The second spoiler shows us a big cameraman. Like I mentioned before, the lack of a name suggests he's someone we already know, but judging by the design of his jacket and the fact that he's not carrying that classic dual laser weapon, this isn't the same big cameraman from episode 76. so it's probably a secondary character, one of many who won't play a major role in the story, which is why he didn't get introduced. There's one interesting detail in the background. Debris is flying around, but there's no visible explosion, so maybe it's rubble falling from a collapsing building. Under the cameraman, there's a piece of debris glowing blue. Doesn't look like a fallen ally. More likely, it's a destroyed piece of equipment, like an energy shield. Altogether, the falling rubble and broken tech suggest this cameraman is in the middle of a battle. That makes sense, since only the Astros are actively tearing down human infrastructure, like cities. In the third spoiler, we see the big TV man. He's finishing off a damaged Astro. Looks like an interceptor based on the parts scattered on the left. That also means there should be a transport ship nearby. One of the Astro carriers. Could the TV man have taken the enemy down himself? Technically, yeah. Those claws let him form energy spheres and launch them at enemies, or deflect energy blasts, which the Astros are known for. But maybe a cameraman helped him out. If that's the case, then this could be the first time in a while that we're seeing real teamwork between the TV men and cameramen on the battlefield. Now let's talk about the Astros. The first one, based on the halo behind his helmet, is probably a carrier, or maybe an impactor. I'm leaning toward carrier since we've already seen interceptors usually traveling with them. If that's the case, our group is about to face a pretty big squad of interceptors, plus a large Astro unit that only a Titan could take down. But neither the Titan cameraman nor the TV man will be coming to help, unlike the speaker man. Mr. Boom actually planned a scene with him back in Season 25 and even teased it with a spoiler, so not all hope is lost for the Alliance. Next up, we've got the Hunter. We've seen this guy before. Yesterday, I thought he might be Juggernaut's son, because he looked similar and seemed to devour someone, but probably not, since he's humanoid. He's got a ring on his back that lets him chase targets on the ground and in the air, and he's holding a pair of long blades. If you zoom in on the spoiler, you'll notice he's not actually holding the blades. They come out from wrist mounts, kind of like the Titan TV man. This Hunter is about the size of a G-Squad mutant, meaning he's even bigger than a large cameraman and poses a serious threat not just to the agents, but to the mutants too. He was probably created, or sent, specifically to fight them, especially since both agents and mutants were super effective against the Astros in episode 77. That lines up with the name too. He's not a warrior or a soldier. For him, it's just a hunt. He's tracking prey that can't even touch him, and like the rest of the Astros, he has zero mercy or empathy. And finally, the last spoiler. We see 4 Astro Destroyers and 2 Annihilators. The word Inferno is written in the corner, basically meaning hell. And yeah, that checks out. The whole environment screams it. Ruined cities, a sky completely covered in clouds with no sunlight, and flames everywhere. Even the Titan TV man would fall under an assault like that, let alone a small team of regular agents. Their only option would be to teleport out with the TV men's help, just to avoid certain death. But, as you probably remember, there's still hope. The Speaker Man Armada. Boom said they've been getting upgrades ever since they disappeared from the series. That's a long time. Long enough for them to be fully geared up, maybe even powerful enough to go toe-to-toe with the Astros. And even though the Titan Speaker Man was heavily damaged back in episode 73, he might be ready by now. Don't forget, G also got wrecked around then, but by episode 77, he was back in action and strong enough to take on Juggernaut, the guy everyone thought was unbeatable. Hold up, did I say that was the last spoiler? All right, bring this one in. What we've got here is another spoiler, pretty similar to the last one, except this time the sky looks even cloudier, the lighting's darker, and the Astros aren't just floating around waiting, they're actually attacking. Now, this shift in tone gets even more interesting when you look at what Boom said next. He confirmed that it's not fake. Let me break it down for you real quick. Belle Ruby, like a lot of other Skibidi Toilet fans, is hyped for episode 78. Mr. Boom replied saying that by the end of 2024, he was burned out from pumping out episodes at that pace, so he slowed things down. Fan-maids had started to reach, and in some cases even surpass, the quality of the original series. Just take a look at those Godzilla animations by Deer from Ohio, for example. Because of that, Boom handed off the animation work to his team, hoping for a solid result. But he wasn't totally happy with how it turned out, so he went back to animating things himself. His team is still helping out, but only with stuff he's okay with. Probably things like models, locations, sounds, and effects. HoovyTube has been helping him with that stuff for a while now. That's also the reason episode 78 has taken so long. He basically had to start it over from scratch. But now Boom knows exactly what his team is capable of. So the next episodes should start coming out at a more regular pace. Episode 78 is already over 10 minutes long and is expected to drop sometime around mid-April. Personally, I'd bet on the 19th or 20th. Boom usually gives the earliest possible release date, and it almost never ends up being that soon. So back to the spoiler changes. I think the earlier version Boom posted was originally meant to appear in the episode as is. But then he decided to tweak things so the episode would actually meet fan expectations. He literally said he wants to raise the quality bar. He also mentioned to IBO that his computer can't really handle the number of light sources and particles anymore. We've seen something like this before. Remember the reworked version of episode 75 from season 25? But wait, that's not all. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss tomorrow's video, because that's when I'm finally dropping my big theory. The one I promised even before all the new spoilers started coming out. See you then.